mean, two things. First, although we know it's going to come back, so it's a battle that's gone away. But firstly, the Speaker was completely incorrect, as the Chief Minister said earlier, in saying, yes, this is an issue which
we should better say the Speaker of the Commons.
Of the House of Commons. Oh, yes,
Commons.
not our Speaker, who hasn't actually needed to pronounce on this. No, the Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow. What was happening was they were trying to bolt an amendment onto a bill that had nothing whatsoever to do with this, just to get it through. Now, whether it can be debated in the House of Commons or not is one thing, but to ignore his own rules on scoping makes you wonder just what's motivating this particular approach at the moment, perhaps deflecting attention. But constitutionally, the United Kingdom Parliament cannot legislate for the Isle of Man without our consent.
But in the past, it has happened. I mean, 1969, famously, we took on the UK and lost.
Yeah, very, very, very. I think that is the exception that proves the rule. I mean, that in the intervening 50 years, nothing of the kind has happened.
Can I just read this out from a listener? Let's not pretend this was anything other than Theresa May not wanting another defeat for a weak government. No one from the UK is talking about us or the Channel Islands. We need to stop kidding ourselves. And it isn't just half MPs. It's cross-party majority. It's not difficult to understand.
Well, it was a finance bill. And if the UK government had lost a finance bill, I mean, in the days when Parliament actually behaved as Parliament was supposed to behave, that would have been a very serious matter for the Prime Minister. But now it seems all bets are off. They're pulling legislation left, right and centre.
So at the end of the month, if it does come back again, and this does go through and is voted through, do we get plunged into a constitutional crisis?
Well, it would only be a crisis if we couldn't manage it. And we will be able to manage it. The point about Tynwald is that Tynwald isn't what they call a subordinate legislature. Tynwald in the Isle of Man is supreme. It's never been a subordinate legislature to the Westminster Parliament, one of the reasons being it's a damn sight older than the Westminster Parliament. Now, compare that to the overseas territories. This is the other phrase that was used this morning by the Chief Minister when you were interviewing him. They were once colonies. Their parliaments were little more than rubber stamps. If indeed they had a parliament, they would have a governor and a few councillors, and legislation would be passed in Westminster which covered the various islands, which is why much of their legislation is identical, one from the other. That never happened here. This is a crown dependency. We have an entirely different relationship. So, in the Isle of Man, if there is a conflict between an act of the United Kingdom Parliament and an act of Tynwald, in the Isle of Man, the act of Tynwald prevails.
So are you saying that if we go down the legal channel, we should win this?
It would have to be challenged. We should win it. The position, the constitutional position, is completely unambiguous. Now, listeners will say, "Oh, but come on, they're bigger than we are, and they can threaten us." Yes, everybody can threaten, but if this came to be debated in the courts of justice and taken perhaps to the Supreme Court in the United Kingdom as a matter of constitutional law, it won't be bullies and blackguards and bandstanders who are facing us. It'll be logic, and our logical position is that Tynwald is sovereign in this country.